All right, Shalom. First and foremost, before I get started with my lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to the Akim that do this work in truth and in sincerity. And the topic of my lesson I want to get into is that there is only one truth. All right, there is only one truth. Okay, and I was having a conversation and whatnot. All right, mostly where I get my inspiration on, basically, conversations with family members, or I could just be scrolling on social media and just hear something, and it gives me the motivation to want to do a video on that particular topic. And basically, a person was talking about how people like to make the argument of there were other books, okay, that came before the Bible, and that you can take, all right, information from these different other resources, all right, and you don't have to just use the Bible. Okay, they're saying that the Bible isn't enough of credible if the Bible doesn't hold enough of credible information for it to stand alone by itself, that you need to get sources, all right, from other things, all right, for the Bible to make sense, and that's just not the case. Now, although that we use other books, or we get into other books, all right, to help prove our point in proving, all right, that the Bible is correct, okay, but secular history, relics, and other different things as well, all right, pretty much already locks in, all right, the validation of the scriptures. Okay, so we just use those other points of reference, other books, all right, just to help to prove our point that the Bible is true. Because the devil tongues usually fall upon its own self. So when we go into just basically regular secular history, or whether it be some Hebrew text, or just whatever the information may be at that pertaining to whatever topic it may be, it helps, all right, shed a lot of light on that what we're talking about is actually true, but nevertheless, all right, there's only one truth in the earth. Okay, there's only one truth in the earth, and that one truth, all right, is the scriptures, man. All right, that's the only thing that we need. All right, it's our guide, it's our instruction book on how to live our life. Okay, I don't want to be too long-winded because we're going to get into some scriptures. It teaches us how to be men, women, all right, it teaches the roles, all right, fair dealings, all right, self-examination, multiple things that goes into, so, it's just it's just the only thing that we need, okay, because there's only one truth, there's only one power. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start, all right, and Lord willing, this video will be edifying to whoever may be listening. All right, this is Revelations chapter 22, verses 18, and it says, "For I testify unto every man that heareth the word of prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these things, Yahweh shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book." So, you can't take, all right, these man-made traditions and add it on to the book. Okay, you have people that celebrate fucking Lent. Okay, down here in the South, I don't know if they have that other places, but you have Lent. I'm like, where's Lent? Where's Easter? Where's all these other things that are being added, all right, into the scriptures, all right? And people believe these things, all right? So there's only one truth. You can't mix the truth, all right, with lies, okay? And this has happened, all right, over generations. That's why the scriptures tell us, all right, that, we have inherited lies, okay? All right? We have inherited lies from what? The heathen, okay? After generations and generations of time, okay? So, again, this is Revelations, all right? 22 and 18. It says, for I testify unto you. It says, for I testify unto every man that heareth the word of prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, Yahweh shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And that is the judgments of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Ultimately, all those people that say, come as you are into these church houses, all those people, and even within Israel that know they're Israelites, they are putting a worldly perspective into the truth and mixing it with all kinds of different things and, switching up the doctrine. The Lord's going to add the plagues that are written within this book onto you. So meaning that you're going to be judged by these plagues in the last days. And it says, and if any man shall take away from the words of this book, of this prophecy, Yahweh shall take away his part out of the book of life. So you ain't even going to be saved. That's being a part of the book of life, is being a part of that 144,000, that 1/3. All right. It says, out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book. So you're not going to have salvation, man. All right. You're going to get judgment. And you're going to wake up. All right. You're gonna come into the kingdom as a newborn babe. All right, you're gonna have to be a baby again, and then you're gonna have that 1,000 years of shame, all right, upon your head for what? Telling lies. All right, because there is only one truth that we have to go by. All right, and we don't allow emotions. All right, our emotions, neither emotions of others, to deter us and make us not tell the truth. Because the majority of these other, denominations and some of these, Israelite camps, all right, they push, those doctrines to get money out of the people, man. They're all about numbers. The more numbers that they have, people, pushing behind them, the more money the more dollar signs they see, man, and being able to deceive the people, So the Lord is going to judge you, okay, for what? Not teaching the truth, man. All right, let's continue on. This is Isaiah 34 and 16. It says, seek out of the book of the Lord and read. So it says, seek out of the book of the Lord and read. All right? Not the book of the dead. All right? Not the book of Enoch. All right? Not all these other wayward doctrines and beliefs, man. All right? It says, seek out of the book of the Lord and read. All right? So there's no other book, all right, that you should be seeking out of but the Holy Scriptures, man. All right? So it says, seek out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these things shall fail. So it's not going to fail you, man. All right? When we read in the scriptures, it says that, have any believed in the Lord and have been dismayed? Okay? It says, read these things out of the book, roughly paraphrasing, you shall what? Good success. All right. So that's what we need to be doing, seeking out the book of the Lord, man. All right, and reading it for what it is. All right. But many, all right, is what? They're wolves, man, in sheep clothing, and they're just looking to try to devour the herd. Okay. And that's what most people are. They're just not. They just don't care, man. They're looking for those smooth words. They're really offended by the word. All right, which is the reason why a lot of people choose to go towards these other philosophies and doctrines or whatnot. All right, because they're offended by the word. All right, it offends them in some way. They're either scared to teach it because of what it teaches, or they're afraid because it goes against their lifestyle. You know. But there's only one truth. There's only one way that we all should be living our lives, and that's according to the scriptures, whether you like it or not. You know, the truth doesn't care about my opinion or anybody else's. The truth is what it is. You know, but hey, let's continue. All right. Again, let's go here. All right, 1 second. All right, let's go back here. All right, this is Isaiah 34:16. Seek out of the book of the Lord and read. None of these things shall fail. None shall want her mate. So you can't take another, all right, Bible, another Shalakia, slip of the tongue. You can't take another book, all right, and mingle it, all right, with the Bible, all right, because the Holy Bible, all right, the good news, all right, holy means to be separate, all right, so it's separate from what? The wickedness, all right, the wickedness of this world, the darkness. And it says, for my mouth it has commanded, and his spirit it have gathered them. All right, so it's the spirit is going to gather those, all right, who, are drawn to the truth. All right, the elect are gathered. The scriptures say that my sheep hear my voice. Okay, so the elect, all right, are going to be gathered. All right, while everybody else be deceived, man. All right, this is bear with me for 1 second. Hold on. All right. This is Ephesians chapter 4, verse 5. No, Shalakia. This is Ephesians chapter 4, verse 3. Endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. So when you're endeavoring, that means that you're seeking. Okay, you're trying to keep, it to the best of your ability. Matter of fact, let's go into the definition of that word. All right, bear with me for 1 second. All right, endeavoring. It says to attempt, to seek, to labor, to work hard. All right, go all out. All right, to strive. Okay, but it says what? Endeavoring or striving to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. So if another man is speaking another thing, how can there be peace? All right, if you on the line, or you in the church, so called, right, and you believe one thing and another person believes another thing, are y'all not going to butt heads? Oh, well, I don't believe. You got one section of the church saying, oh, I don't believe this. And you have another section of the church saying, no, it goes this way. And, nah, that's not how it's supposed to be. It says to keep unity of the Spirit. All right, the Spirit is the word, the understanding. All right, bond of peace. All right. There ain't gonna be no peace if y'all clashing heads. All right, if y'all have different minds, a different mindset. There's one body and one spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling. All right. So is there one body and one spirit? You have to be in unity. You have to be together. You have to be in one accord. Just as the Father and the Son is. Okay, I and my Father are one. What? There's no disagreement between the two. They're going to agree on everything. All right, that's how we have to be. All right, this is a quick one. This is Amos chapter 3, verse 3. And it says, can two walk together except they be agreed? Okay, so we can't walk together if we can't walk together if you believe in something and I believe in something else. Okay, it's just not gonna it's not gonna flow right. All right, you know, going against the grain, against each other. All right, so let's go here. This is John chapter 4 verse 23, and it says, but the hour cometh, and now is when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. All right, so the true worshiper of the Heavenly Father are going to worship in spirit and in truth, meaning that they're going to be on one accord in the spirit. All right, they're going to be preaching one doctrine. All right, they're not going to believe in anything separately. All right, they're going to be in sync in the spirit. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. The Father seeketh those to be in one mind of himself. You know? Let's go here, all right? This is 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 5. It says, for there is one power and one mediator between God, Yahweh, and man. The man, Mashiach Yahushai. For there is one power, there's one God, and one mediator between God and man. The man, Mashiach Yahushai. So there's one power. There's no multiple powers. All right. So you can't believe in Buddhism. You can't be a Muslim. You can't be a Christian. All right. You can't be a Methodist or a Jehovah's Witness and none of those other. You can't have you can't believe in a mixture of things. There's only one God. All right, and there's only you know, and only His Son. All right, the mediator. No other powers besides those two. Okay, because all the gods of the other nations are idols. Okay. There's a story in Daniel's about that, man. All right. When Daniel didn't want to worship, all right, the gods of the other nations, and Daniel put them to the test. He said, well, put this food into this temple and see if your God is living. All right. And seal it up. All right. And then what ended up happening? All right. That power that they believed in, all right, didn't come through, man. All right. It ended up, when you read the story, all right, Daniel went into the temple, all right, whatever it was, okay. They unsealed it. He went into it, and you know the ruler was like, look, all the food is gone. And Daniel was like, well, what is these footsteps here? Well, these are footsteps of men and children. Made a complete fool out of them, man. All right? Because what? These gods of the other nations are not real. And those men, women, and children, they fed them to the lions, man. All right? So, yeah, man, our power is true. We're going to get that real quick, and then we're going to end it out on that, all right? This is Psalms 96:5. It says, "For the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord Yahweh made the heavens." All right, so the Lord made everything visible and invisible that we can see and not see. All right, while these idols that people make out of the things that the Lord has created, all right, are nothing but that, just wood and stone. And people rather believe and worship, okay, the creation rather than the creator, and believe in all these other things besides the one and true power. Predominantly our people, all right, because as it says here, for the gods of the nations are idols. All right, our true power is Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. These other nations, they worship, the BS. They into astrology and worshiping wood and animals and all the other BS. We have a true power, which is Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. All right, our power is real. All right, the other nations, there is bullshit. All right, and the kingdom of heaven, man, the other nations they're gonna pay tribute, and they're gonna worship the true power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua and follow His laws. Okay, the nations are gonna follow the laws of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, and if they don't worship the true living power and the only truth in the truth, the one truth. All right, during the time of that 1,000 years and beyond, they're gonna get judged, man. All right, they're gonna get judged according to whatever judgment they have committed. All right, so with that being said, Lord willing, this video was edifying. All right, there's only one true power. There's only one God. All right, there's only one truth. All right, so with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory again to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. All right, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to the Akim that do this work in truth and sincerity. Until the next time, Lord willing, I say shalom.